Beneath the whispering forest and the twinkling stars stands a doorless tower where a girl named Rapunzel sings each day with a voice as clear as a spring. Our tale begins with a secret garden and a hasty promise, and from there, love, courage, and hope will lead us on a wondrous journey. Open the booklet, step into the story. Once upon a time, and the edge of a deep, whispering forest, there lived a kind couple in a tiny blue house with a crooked chimney. Their back fence bordered a garden so perfect it looked drawn with a ruler. Neat rows of herbs, glossy pumpkins, and a bed of crisp curly greens called rampion. The garden belonged to a powerful witch named Mother Gothel, who liked her plants tidy and her neighbors far away. One spring, the wife, who was expecting a baby, caught the scent of rampion on the breeze and felt a craving so fierce it rattled her bones. "If I don't taste those leaves," she sighed, "I might simply fade away." Her husband loved her more than anything, so late that night he crept over the fence, picked a handful of the bright green leaves, and scrambled back. The salad was delicious, cool and snappy, and, for one quiet evening, everything was fine. But cravings don't care about fences. The next night, the husband returned with a basket and shakier knees, as he reached for the rampion. The garden shadows knit together and rose into Mother Gothel herself, tall, sharp as a thorn, with eyes that could prune a secret right out of you. "A thief," she said softly, "which is scarier than when people shout. You may eat your fill, neighbor, but when your child is born, the child will be mine." The husband's heart knocked like a door in a storm. He agreed, because fear makes poor bargains, and staggered home. Months passed. The baby arrived, a girl so bright the room felt like summer. Mother Gothel appeared, gathered the child into a purple cloak, and named her Rapunzel after the leaves that changed everything. Gothel hid Rapunzel in a stone tower far inside the forest. The tower had no door and no stairs, only a single high window where sunlight puddled in a square. Rapunzel grew with the sun, and so did her hair, pure gold, long as a river. She sang to keep away the quiet, and the birds gathered like notes on a music line. When Gothel came to visit, she would stand at the base of the tower and call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Down would fall a shining braid, and up would climb the witch, boots clicking against the stone like knitting needles. Years slipped by like pages. One afternoon, a young prince went riding after a deer and lost the path. The forest, which enjoys rearranging itself when people aren't looking, delivered him to the foot of the tower just as Rapunzel began to sing. Her voice drifted through the pines, warm bread on a winter day, and the prince's heart felt both lighter and heavier. He circled the tower, found no door, and returned the next day and the next, just to listen. At last he saw Gothel arrive. He watched as the witch called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and climbed like a spider up a golden thread. When evening came, the prince stood where Gothel had stood and called as she had called. Rapunzel, a little startled by the new voice, but curious and brave, lowered her braid. up climbed the prince, breathing carefully so he wouldn't blow the moment away. "I hope I didn't scare you," he said, smoothing his hair, which had become very silly in the journey. Rapunzel had never met anyone close to her own age, anyone who looked at her as if she were a person, not a pet songbird. She laughed for the first time in a forever sort of way. The prince visited often. They traded stories like seashells. He brought small rolls of silk, smooth as water. "Braid these together," he said, "and we'll make a ladder. When it's strong enough, we'll climb down together." Rapunzel hid the silk under a loose floor stone and worked by moonlight. Each not a promise. But secrets are heavy, and heavy things slip. One morning, as Rapunzel pulled Gothel up, her arms aching, she sighed without thinking, "Oh, you're much heavier than the prince." Silence. It fell through the tower like a trap door. Gothel's eyes turned to winter. She snipped off Rapunzel's braid with silver scissors, snip, snip, snipping till the golden rope lay coiled on the floor like a sleeping snake. Then, with a flick of magic, Gothel whisked Rapunzel away to a far-off desert where the wind played lonely songs across the sand. That night, the prince came to the tower and called. Down tumbled the familiar golden braid. He climbed, heart racing, only to find Mother Gothel waiting with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Looking for someone," she purred. "You'll never see her again." The prince stumbled back, slipped, and fell from the high window into the brambles below. He lived. Heroes are very hard to break, but the thorns scratched his sight away. Blind and heartbroken, he wandered from wood to hill to plain, listening for a voice that had once made the world make sense. Time went on. It does, even when it shouldn't. In the desert, Rapunzel survived with courage that surprised her, and the lullabies she sang to her two baby twins, with curls like commas and laughs that finished her sentences. She sang for them, for the wind, for herself. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, a tired traveler heard a song he knew by heart. He stood very still. The desert held its breath. "Rapunzel," he called. "Is it you?" she answered. They found each other by sound, then by hand, then by arms around shoulders and cheeks. Their tears were the kind that feel like rain after a long, long drought. When Rapunzel's tears slid onto the prince's eyes, the desert wind shivered and his world brightened. He blinked, and there she was, the girl who had made a tower feel like a home, and a song feel like a doorway. They returned to his kingdom, the twins giggling at everything, the clink of teacups, the flutter of banners, the bright splash of fish in the fountain. The king and queen welcomed Rapunzel with a hug big enough to include the past and the future. As for Mother Gothel, she avoided mirrors from then on. They kept showing her the one thing she couldn't stand to see, the truth. Rapunzel and the prince built a life with lots of windows and absolutely no towers. On summer nights, they told the children how they met, how a song can be a ladder, how hope can be a mapand. The stars leaned closer to listen, and they lived together, happily ever after. Dear children, promises are important, so make them slowly and keep them kindly. act. If you're stuck, ask for help. If you're scared, hold on to hope. And if you love someone, let your words be gentle and your actions brave.